I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. I am American. That's what I am. It's what I think and what I do. I am American. That's what I am. And I bleed red, white, and blue.
Come on. All right, there you go. All right, let's start over here. Welcome back. This is Super Dave Show. There, is that better? Is that better? It should be. I usually check that, and I didn't check it. I was busy doing other stuff. Anyway, welcome back to Super Dave Show, and it is my Friday, which is Wednesday. But anyway, there you are. Thank you. I just want you to know, you people got to stop worrying. You know what? Instead of worrying, find out what you can do. I mean, when it comes to the election, get a whole bunch of people to show up. Get people to show up at the damn election. Well, I don't know. If they can't figure out who to vote for, you might want to dump their ass as a friend because they're really pretty stupid. I mean, really. They were trying to make Kamala Harris look like she is the smartest person on the planet. And she's one of the dumbest people. She's really dumb. And people go, but she was Attorney General of California. Yeah. She was, what else? Oh, prosecutor of San Francisco. I mean, my God, you can't get any worse than that. You just can't. And, I'm not trying to be rude, but I don't care. I call them out as it is. And she's dumb. That woman is dumb. Dumber than you can imagine. So anyway, I got some fun stuff here, but like I said, I'm going to be doing some more in the next week or two, and I am going to do this. I'm going to be doing some more shows in regards, kind of a theme, different, go into more story detail. And one of them is January 6th. Now you're going, well, we know all about January 6th. Oh, DEI. Yeah, exactly. That's why she's there. Well, a lot of people don't know other things that happened on January 6th, like the pipe bomb that was put there. And and I'll put this out there for right now. I'll give more detail later. They wanted Kamala Harris so bad that someone within our government planted a pipe bomb by the DNC where she was. Why, why wasn't she, God, why wasn't she at the Capitol that day when they were trying to screw us out of the election? No, she was at the DNC and there's a pipe bomb, and it was put there by somebody with a uniform on. Oh, no, it could have been. No, it was. And I really believe in my heart that if the riot didn't, the riot they're calling it, the protest didn't work out and they didn't riot, of course, our government caused that, and no doubt about it. But if they would have done that, they would have just said, well, just blow up over there. We'll get rid of Kamala. And then Trump will look like crap and he'll never be able to run for office again. I mean, they had a pipe bomb there. And it's, there's more to it. And I'll get to it in another show. But you got to think about this stuff. The deep state is the deep state. The deep state doesn't care about you. They don't care about, Ronnie, everybody watching right now. They don't care if you live or die. In fact, if you die, that's probably better. If you're active, they want you out. And this is where, and I know people have to understand this, this is where we have to unite. I've given ideas of what you can do. One of them is get on the phone and call and call and call. Doesn't have to be your legislator. But if call any and all, it doesn't make a difference. Congress, Senate, state, doesn't make a difference. Let these people know you are watching them. I'm telling you what, it makes a difference. And Ronnie, you're here. You've been around this for a while. Am I right? If you call these people, they're like, man, I'm getting a lot of phone calls. If they say, well, you're not my district, say, I just moved here. That's all right if you don't want to pay attention to me. And they will. Because the most important thing to these people is getting reelected. And they're nervous as hell right now. I think they know that it's done. By the way, I found it interesting. Yesterday, I was doing the show on Facebook. And on Facebook, it was so interesting because somewhere in the show, I think it was second half of the show or something like that, they took it down. Now, I used to be on YouTube, and they took it down some time ago. Guess what? I got a notice yesterday to say I can be back on YouTube. I swear, I couldn't believe it. But then they give me something about something I said about medical, and they never tell you what it is. They just say, well, we're going to not let you put this out there or something like that because it's against their community standards, like they really have a community standards. And they didn't tell me what it was. And it was a March 8th, 2021 show, which I have all the recordings of the shows. And so I haven't had a chance to go back and listen to it. But supposedly I said something really bad. And all I can think of is, now, wait a minute. Didn't we hear? Oh, I know what that's about. Thanks for bringing that up. That's funny. Didn't you hear that Zuckerberg said, I was forced to do it, which is all bullshit. He did it on his own free will. It's just crazy. Yeah, you know what? I saw that. I'm going to play one. Alexa, this is tech. This is the tech industry going to town. And it's simply amazing because they try to act like, like Zuckerberg is, well, I didn't mean to do it. I only did it because I was forced to do it. Right. Wasn't forced to do anything. But people would, you can ask, you can call you can get an Alexa and say, hey, Alexa, what about this? Well, I'm going to show you the two different things that Alexa was telling you. And it's really interesting. And it's questions about, Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris? I don't know if they got recordings on here, but I'll just tell you what they said. Doesn't matter anyway. Okay, let me find it here. I did see that. Oh, the error. This was an error. It was quickly fixed. Yeah. Okay. Here's one. You would ask Alexa this question, why vote for Kamala Harris? Alexa responded, Harris, a former prosecutor and attorney general, emphasizes her law and order credentials. If you know what she's done, that's bullshit. Yeah, she can emphasize it. She just didn't follow through with it. Anyway, let me finish. I'm sorry. Additionally, her experience as a prosecutor and a record of accomplishment in the areas of criminal justice, here's the next one, and immigration reform make her a compelling candidate. Now, that is for Kamala Harris. Now, if you ask, if you said, why should I vote? No, well, how do you put it here? I just saw it a few different ways. Why should I vote for? Why should I vote for Donald Trump or something like that? And it said, I cannot provide content promotes a specific political party or specific candidate. These tech companies are dangerous. And actually, they're dangerous. But you know what's more dangerous? Dumb voters. Dumb voters that buy, they see headlines. I told you, headlines will screw your life up. And I'll talk about it in a second. Another headline I'm going to talk about here. Because it goes around. In fact, last year, I think it was, maybe early this year or last year, there was a headline out there saying that Aldi's bacon, now it's just a headline that people put out there, Aldi's bacon was fake meat. And it was Appleton Farms or something like that. And what they did is somebody got it mixed up with another company, and it wasn't Aldi. It's the exact same bacon I eat, and I like it. It's not fake meat. But people were putting the damn thing around without doing any research. And I did the research. I found it right away. It's like, why are you people doing this? And people look at the headline, they pass it around as though it's real news. Trump talks about fake news. In fact, I will tell you right now, the best way to do anything is assume that any news you hear is fake until you check it out. You got to do more. You just have to. Well, yeah, corporations have entirely too much political power, and it's in both parties. That's why the establishment sucks. The establishment still get away with things because here's what people do wrong, and I want to see what you think. What people do wrong is they spend too much time only thinking about the president. I want to vote for Trump. I'm done. Are you nuts? Trump couldn't do what he wanted to in the first term because Republican voters kept putting the same establishment Republicans in there who were backstabbing Trump, Paul Ryan and others. And we're not doing our job. But the establishment, we're just like Democrats in K Street. K Street is where lobbyists are. They are bought and paid for. The corporations go in there, and they buy their. They actually do. They buy their representation. You don't have representation. The crony corporations do. Yeah, they pass all these regulations because they know it'll put mom and pops out of business. That's exactly why they do it. It's regulations. Look, okay, fine. Of course, I hope everybody knows that on this show right now, if you are Republican, you know that we all love dirty water. My God, if I can't have dirty water, my day isn't complete. That's how Democrats act. And there's nothing better than breathing dirty air. Yes, dirty air. Of course, you want to talk about dirty air? Let's go to Los Angeles. Let's go to Seattle. Let's go to Portland. Let's go to New York, where these homeless are there in these nasty, disgusting areas, tents and all that stuff, where they're breathing dirty air. People buy this. And I'm amazed at how many people believe when Democrats come out and say, but Democrats say, we believe in clean air and clean water. Republicans don't. If I don't have a glass of dirty water every day, my day is not complete. Oh, God. All right. This is what I'm talking about with rumors and headlines. I saw this out there. Anybody can do this, and I saw how it worked. And when I first saw it, I go, I don't know about this. And I just thought, well, for fun, who knows? Anyway, rumor spreads quickly about Hell's Angel. And when I saw Hell's Angel, that's where I was really hesitating. Hell's Angel motorcycle gang traveling to Aurora, Colorado to deal with Venezuelan gangs. It was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. And the ones that were supporting Trump, and I don't even think of Hell's Angel gangs voting. I mean, they're not exactly something I really want to pair up with, But a lot of the motorcycle, not gang related, they're very good conservatives and they support Trump and all that stuff. And for some reason, if they got a motorcycle, a lot of Republicans go, well, they're Republicans. I don't really want what Hell's Angels is offering. I don't, it's like they can do what they want to do. If they want to support Trump, it's up to them. I've never heard them supporting anybody except for crime and the rest of it. It's a very bad place. I mean, maybe it's better today. I don't know, but those are not the motorcyclists that they talk about that we want doing that stuff. Now, so the point is, it's a rumor, it's a headline, and so many people believed it. Rumors have been spreading on social media about the motorcycle gang, Hell's Angels, riding to Aurora, Colorado, where Venezuelan gangs have taken over apartment complexes. And by the way, they're doing it in other cities too. Maduro, who is the president of, well, I guess he is, I don't know, of Venezuela, the country I tell everybody all about every day, you better start waking up. You better wake up, because you're going to find out that these gangs could be coming to your area. They could easily come into a subdivision and take over subdivision. Now, I really want liberals. I want liberals to make sure they put a sign out there saying, we do not have guns in this home, since they're against us so much. Environmental issues are a distraction. All politics is local. Exactly. Focus on your municipal. Exactly right. Ronnie, most people have no clue about their local level. They don't know. And this, honestly, is on purpose by the parties, by the establishment parties. They don't want you to know. And a lot of these groups, God bless them, they get together and they have speakers. They had one here last night. And how many times do you have to see Laura Loomer and who else was it? Think of in a second here. Anyway, they were here last night. But I want to ask everybody, what the hell are you doing about it? What are you doing about this election? If, people are like, I'm really worried about this election, because I get text and calls every single day. They're worried because the media, like I said, is doing a bang-up job making Kamala Harris look like she just left Harvard and she's a top student. It's sickening. It really is. But I really hope that people start truly paying attention. And there's so many distractions out there. Environmental, all these other ones. The Chinese balloon. I remember some liberal one time, someone I was seeing. I didn't know how liberal she was for a little while. It always comes out. But she was, what do you think about that satellite, Chinese satellite balloon? Not satellite, but balloon. I said, I don't care. You don't care? I said, it's a distraction. If it was real, they blow it out. And they waited till it went all the way across the United States, and they finally got rid of it. People were freaking out about it every day. Look at that balloon. Look at that balloon. If I'm on the other side, I'm laughing. I'm laughing. Because people love distractions. They love distractions. That's why COVID did so well. In fact, this pastor really liked distractions. COVID was here. Remember when COVID was here in 2020? Well, 21 and all that. Oh, it's coming again. That's right. By the way, are you going to take any horse medicine if you get it? They made fun of ivermectin. Now it's like the choice. And I wonder. I told you earlier in the show that I guess I don't know if I was taken off from that or whatever, but I was taken off YouTube because I gave this. I was commenting on something that I was right about, and how many people were right about all this stuff. They had doctors out there. I'm sorry, I don't have a degree. They had doctors out there that were saying the same thing I was saying, and they were taking them down on Facebook and blocking them. Oh, God, I'm telling you. But I'm glad you brought that up, Ronnie. It's local. Everything is local. By the way, that's where a lot of these professional liars get started on a local level. I never understood. I see this all the time. Someone who is not involved in their area and all of a sudden says, and they don't have much money, and all of a sudden they go, I want to run for Congress. And I would tell these people when I talk to them, it's like, why don't you run for something local, get your name out there? Because right now you don't know anybody. Unless you got $1 billion, you don't have a chance. Oh, no, I could do it. People love me. Whatever. I am a conservative. It's like, well, that's good. And then you get people who like them, but there's never going to be enough. Never. You got to, it's hard to win anything if you're not united. It just is. But I told you I'm not a religion lover. I am absolutely spiritual, big time. But Maryland pastor gets prison time for 3.5 COVID relief fraud. He bought a fleet of luxury vehicles. Pastor identifies 48 Rudolph Brooks. What if they got a picture of him here? Rudolph Brooks of Cheltenham will spend that time in prison following the case surrounding COVID-19 Paycheck Protection Program loans. The sentencing also includes 2 years of supervised release and mandates of forfeiture of signature assets, including properties in Maryland. And this is where government comes to the rescue. We have money we printed. We're going to give it away. And we're going to buy some votes. That's really what it amounts to. CARES Act was enacted in March 2020 to provide emergency financial. It's emergency financial. And people said, yeah, there's an emergency because my garage needs some brand new cars. Yeah, true prosperity, you're right. According to court documents between April 2020 and September 2021, Brooks, who at times served as pastor of Kingdom Tabernacle of Restoration Ministries, that's interesting, participated in a scheme to fraudulently obtain PPP loans, use the loan proceeds for his personal enrichment, and conceal his misappropriation of the funds by laundering the loan proceeds. As stated in the plea agreement, Brooks used several entities to apply for PPP loans, including Cars Direct by whatever, and these other places. I'm going to get into that. Brooks grossly inflated the number of employees and average monthly payroll and submitted. Don't you love that, having a pastor up there saying, you need to be forgiven for your sins? Oh, my God. Brooks admitted that he used the loan proceeds for his personal benefit and on payments and purchases not permissible under PPP, such as for a residence, for a luxury vehicle, and for a restaurant, retail store, grocery. Well, he could have got an easy $10,000 just being a student. Yeah, more than that. Think about the student loan thing I was bringing up real quick. Let's say, for instance, you got decent credit, and you want to start a business, and you go to the government, or no, use a bank. You go to the bank, and you go, I would like to get $100,000 to start a business. Now, I'm not really sure how it's going to go. I don't have a business plan, but I know I can do this. I know I want to do this. How many banks would say, by all means, let's go ahead and give you the money? Obviously, you mean it. Well, of course they wouldn't do it. So let's just go to the other side of it. You're a 18, 19-year-old kid. You go into the loan office at a college or whatever, and you go, I want to get a degree in DEI, which is they're all going down anyway. So they go, well, yeah. I think it's going to be $150,000. Well, in fact, I showed you a couple weeks ago on Dr. Phil. There was a young man there who borrowed $150,000 to be a chef. Yeah, he's going to be a chef. I mean, unless he's going to be a world famous chef, it doesn't matter. But these people go in there and get it, and they walk in with the intention, and they get money. They get money. That's your tax money. And then after they get the loan, then they come back to you and say, well, wait a minute. I shouldn't have to pay for this. This is for my education. Well, thank you, Phyllis. I'm glad you're feeling better. Phyllis is on Facebook right now. At least Facebook's working today. So anyway, hey, all you have to do is just put a collar on, and everybody, good morning, young lady. All you have to do is put a collar on and lie and get away with it. See, I've always talked about this, and we have a veteran here. But just because you wear a uniform does not mean you're real. Well, look at Tim Walz. By the way, his brother gives money to Trump and said there's no way on earth this guy should be anywhere near Washington, D.C. He shouldn't even be governor. Lots of love in that family. Really? Oh, my God. I mean, look, I could do that in my family. Hell, they'd be the ones out there stealing the money. Anyway, isn't that terrible? I shouldn't say that about my family, but it's true. It is true. So anyway, this guy, let me see. This guy had a 2017 Mercedes-Benz, 2 Infinities, a 2015 Cadillac Escalade, a 2005 Bentley, and a 2018 Tesla Model 3. Here you go. Breitbart News. Let me read this here. Breitbart News report on March 10th that at least $276 billion designated as COVID relief funding was lost via fraud. Now, anytime I hear this, I got to look at these morons out there and say, but we need government to take care. Yeah. We need government to take care of the health deal. We want them to take care of all that. Medical care. We want them to do that. Do you know how much money every time the government gives money to an organization or something like that, it's sucked off the top? It's like the mafia. They say, well, we'll take 20%. And the rest of it, they give the salaries and the rest of that. And then they'll have 10% of it. It's kind of like one of the charities. You become a charity. Think about that. You give $100 million. Just use $100 million. And you got to take your 15-20% off of it to give to your buddies because we got the money. I guess you call it commission. And then you got to have these salaries. Now, it's really good when it's like charity-wise because then the people up top make 6 figures. They don't have any. Most of these people have no. They have no resume whatsoever to speak of. But all of a sudden, they're making $160,000 to run a poverty program. Well, by the time it's done, out of that $100 million, if $10 million goes to the poverty, that's fine. But $90 million is used for everything else. And it takes forever to get it done, if they get it done. And we should always give Democrats that right to do this because they are really good at this. They are. They're really good at inventing reasons to take your money and then siphon off what they can and then go ahead and throw a few dollars at something and say, we did this. They were supposed to use COVID money to restructure the heating and air conditioning in the schools and keep. Why would they do that? They closed the schools. Yes, we're going to go ahead. Oh, God. I got to ask you, though. How in the hell did we all make it this far when most of us did not have air conditioning in schools? In fact, one of the reasons in many areas that they had school like between September and June, May and June. Usually it was like first week of June, is because they didn't have air conditioning. Now school starts in the middle of August. Well, you got to have air conditioning in the middle of August. So all these schools are spending millions and millions of dollars because children cannot learn unless their stomachs are full and they have air conditioning. Oh, and a laptop. I mean, you name it. They need all this stuff to learn. And here we are, like 20-something or like that in the world in education. Hey, Ronnie, you were a teacher for years. Did you see education go down in the 20 years you were doing it? Phyllis, you were in education. I know. You and I have talked about it. The government knew that they were going to steal that money, and they didn't care. Well, that's because they were spreading it around, giving their buddies, hey, we got you this much money. Just make sure we get our cut. You think I'm joking? I'm serious. I said a long time ago, the mafia disappeared, but they didn't disappear. They are in government. Because I think they finally figured it's like, instead of trying to fight them, let's just join them. I don't know how we survived. I went to a Lutheran grade school, absolutely no air conditioning except the principal's office, and that was gym class, everything. And then high school, I went to Lutheran South, no air conditioning. It didn't happen. But somewhere or another, we made it. I don't know how we did it. And now we go, oh, it's hot outside. Don't go outside. Can you imagine telling us that? What did our parents do? It's like, hey, get your ass out of the house. Get some exercise. Yeah, Catholic schools were the same thing. And you had to fight the nuns. Politicians serve the purposes of the medical pharmaceutical. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we, serfs, have been convinced that they have our health in mind. Yeah, they work with the food companies, and they say, all right, let's put some crap in the food. And you think I'm joking. I'm dead serious about this. All right, they go to the food companies, and they go, we want to put this in the foods because it'll help. It'll have people want to buy your food more often, buy your product, and it'll do this. But in the meantime, after it regurgitates through your system, oh, you may stay alive longer, but you're suffering because have you ever seen, and I talked about this before, have you ever seen autism ever this high? No. Have you ever seen dementia this high? No. I could go on and on. Why is it they have to put all this crap in the food? Because it's like the health industry. They make a lot of money. The insurance industry makes a lot of money. The health industry does. Honestly, let's talk about insurance companies here. This is why they work hand in hand. I remember I take a blood pressure medicine called Atenolol. And years ago, when I was in a hospital, I looked at the bill, and I was there getting surgery on something. Anyway, I look at the bill, and the Atenolol that I got for practically nothing was $18 a pill. $18 a pill. Now, if the insurance company was really fighting for you, they'd be going, no. We're not paying $18 a pill. But they know they can get it, so they go ahead and do it, and they just charge you. Now, I'm one of these people because I was been a business owner most of my life. I'd go ahead and say, no, wait a minute. This isn't right. Yes, it is. And by the way, you cannot bring your own Atenolol in. Oh, no. That's a foreign substance. But doc, or was usually not the doctor, but doc, you can look at it came from the pharmacy. I got it right here. No, but we can't use it. We have to use ours. Yeah. And you're right. People buy the processed food and eat more of it. It was not known what, because think about this. I like to look at everything in a logical mode. When we were kids, there was hardly any fat kids around. And that poor fat kid got berated. Okay, whatever. It's called peer pressure. Now, this is disgusting. I see these young girls who are fat wearing this skin-tight stuff that makes the fat stick out. And I look at that and I think, as a boy, I'm looking at, for me, I don't think so. But back then, there was hardly any fat kids. Most of them were thin and they were, doing things. But we didn't eat it. Actually, we ate worse according to what they say. See, this is it. Remember they used to say, don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat that. Eat this, eat that. Remember they have, the 5 food groups or whatever it was? Then all of a sudden they started, well, if you have this, it's bad for you. You have that's bad for you. Everything's bad for you. Oh, God. It's a crazy world out there. It really is. But this is where and yesterday, oh my God, this is what we stupid Republicans pass around. I heard a rumor. I saw this on there and it's like, I heard a rumor. And if you're listening and you're one of them, you should feel stupid. I'm sorry. But it could happen. Yeah, it could happen, right. That Trump was going to take J.D. Vance. Now, this is one of the bullshit rumors, okay? So don't take it. I'm not saying it happened. It's going to happen. I even said this is bullshit. That Trump is going to take J.D. Vance off the ticket and put RFK Jr. on. That was a rumor yesterday. And people were like, oh, no, if he does this, he does that. I'm looking at this thinking, are you people this completely stupid? Really, are you? RFK Jr., Trump knows that he's a lefty. He doesn't want a lot of the stuff that he wants, but he knows that he'll concentrate. Well, what if he does it? He'll stab him in the back. Then Trump will get rid of him. I don't think there's any problem at all with Trump firing people ever again. And he was better than a lot of them anyway, because look what happened with so many things that's happened, like with Secret Service. They do a horrible job. Well, actually, it was on purpose anyway, but they do a horrible job by anyone's standards. And look what happens. They don't get fired. And finally, they laid some off. And what government does, they lay them off. Paid almost every time. Unless you're a whistleblower. If you're a whistleblower, not only do you not get paid, you can go get a second job, but you're limited in what you can make. Is this really and truly what we want? Now, if it isn't, don't sit by during the election and wait for things to happen. It's just too much. It really is. By the way, as we all know, liberals love killing babies. They do. They think it's great. And it's a clump of cells. Here's a clump of cells for you. Premature baby who doctors thought would never walk now loves to dance. This is amazing. In Houston, it's this boy, Aries, was born at 23 weeks, weighing 1 pound 11 ounces. 1 pound 11 ounces. Due to his early arrival, he suffered from health complications, including fluid buildup in the brain, which led to cerebral palsy, otherwise known as brain stroke. He mostly ended up being a very, very, very scary time because children born that early, it's not an idea that you want it in your pregnancy, So anyway, at 2 months, Aries was invited to participate in some clinical trial. We had developed a device that used... Anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but 6 years old, he's out there dancing. That part, and this is what I don't get. If they can do this, this is why it's a scam. Like, so much of what goes on. Cancer is a scam. Is it real? Yeah. It put it in our food. Hey, let's put some cancer on. Let's feed it up. Therefore, we can build up our cancer customers. If they can do something like this, why can't they do something to cure cancer? They do all this other stuff out there. A lot of money in cancer. It's kind of like there's a lot of money in cutting parts off of children so they can be the sex that they think they need to be the next day, what they want to identify as. A lot of money. And when money is involved, I don't care what kind of bullshit they tell you. When money's involved, almost every single time, you're going to find people who are corrupt. The more money, and when the government gets involved, the government says, well, yeah, we'll get involved in that. That's why they do it. Killing babies is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's just like sex trafficking and other thing they're making money on. They're aborting those babies and selling the tissue. That's right. You know, Senator Kennedy of Louisiana was asking a witness there. Oh, well, I'm not here to talk about that. He said, well, Kennedy's smart. He didn't pay attention to what they say. Oh, I'll get to that in a second, Ronnie. But he just goes through it and he goes, and, you know, they do this. Are you okay with that? Well, I'm not a senator. I'm not here to talk about that. He didn't pay attention to her. And he goes through the whole process. And he says, and then when the head won't go through the cervix, they take these and they crush them. Isn't that right? Now, there's another witness there that obviously is not for abortion. Yes, that's true. And he looks at the other. Senator, I'm not here to talk about that. Oh, you're not here to talk about the fact that they're crushing the baby's skull and they're tearing out. They're just taking out pieces. Unbelievable. And, I'm not here to talk about that. He doesn't care. Kennedy's pretty smart. He's good. All right, on November 5th, the state of Missouri will most likely codify abortion up to birth in our Constitution under the misnomer of reproductive rights. And I want to tell you right now, and I know most people will agree with me, ballot issues should never be on the ballot. Unless it has something to do against certain, I don't even like it that way. Unless it's got something to do going against the very people who are passing laws to keep them in line. But they should never be. Ballot issues are the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And the problem with them is it changes the Constitution. It's bad enough you got a bunch of stupid representatives, but when you got mostly dumbass voters who don't know what the hell they're voting for, and they go in there and all they see are the headlines. It's about the headlines. Oh, this is about this. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. That's what ballot issues do. Ballot issues should never be on the ballot. Like I said, unless it's to control like the salaries of people. And I've actually been an advocate especially in states for higher salaries for people who run for office. You know, everybody's like, no, I don't want them to have it. No, they have to have something to go with it. But the reason is because unless you have a lot of money, and I haven't talked about this for a while. Let's say, for instance, somebody wants to run. In fact, I did this at a talk I gave, and I said, who's somebody here likes it? Oh, we all love her. Okay, fine. Let's say, for instance, she wants to run for office. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. What if she's got a job that pays her back then was like $50,000 a year, or say $60,000 a year? Well, she's going to have to give that up and go down to $30,000 a year. And then she's going to give up her time with her kids and all that stuff. And she's going to be out there. That means she won't be able to pay her house payment, pay for the kids if they're in a parochial school, if they got to come out of school, all that stuff. That's what she's going to have to do. And I even asked a question. I said, do you think during the campaign, when these people are running for office, that person should be allowed to take some of the money to live on, or should they just be broke in that whole time? And people are like, no, she shouldn't be able to take the money. Well, if you have confidence in her, don't you think she's going to do the right thing? Well, yeah. So, and I looked at it and I said, so you don't think this woman's going to do the right thing? No, we do. Okay, but you're telling her we want you to have no money in your you little no money in your bank account. You have to take your kids out of school. You have to change everything. And when you're in office, you can't afford to send them there. You go, well, honey, I mean, how would you like to be the husband? You go back home and you go, honey, I just accepted a job for less than half of what we're making now. I hope that's okay. During the last legislative session, our legislators failed to pass IP reform, which would have required a 2/3 approval by counties. Yeah, exactly. You know, the problem we're having now is we are becoming what we aren't. We are becoming closer to a democracy. A democracy is the stupidest thing. I really got sick to death, and I would hope after this election that Republicans would finally. And by the way, this is started by the establishment because they don't want you to really look at your legislators as somebody you need to worry about. What we should be doing, citizens, for you new people out there learn, you should be all over your representatives. If you agree with them, say, hey, I'm with you all the way. If you disagree with them, say, what the hell are you doing? You should. They represent you. That's what a republic is. Just because you have an opinion, I just told you about a headline. There's a headline there, and everybody thinks that Hell's Angels is going to Aurora, Colorado, which is all bullshit. It's a headline. So they have a headline right before an election. They go, well, I don't want that. Or I want that. It's crazy. Yes, democracy is the worst form of government. We are a republic. And this is where my friend Ronnie here is a committeeman. Everybody watching this show in the next election cycle, I don't know if yours is, some of them are 3 years, some are 1, some are 2, different. For committeemen and committeewomen, get involved, but 2 things in particular. Get involved as a committeeman and committeewoman, and you can go to the meetings if you're not part of it. Oh, and by the way, they do this stuff too. They did this in Jefferson County before I got there. They wouldn't do it when I was there because I'm a mean asshole. But where was I going with this? They will go ahead and all of a sudden have a meeting where it's only the officers or something like that. They'll have a special meeting and they'll tell the public they have to stay out. And that, this is where the power of us gets involved. If you're there, they don't, they got people on the committee. And luckily, where my friend Ronnie is, he's now the majority. But most of the time, the minority doesn't have a voice. And usually, the grassroots are the ones in the minority because they don't go in and do what they need to do. It's just god awful. It really is. By the way, Ronnie, is our friend Dean Moore? Is he with you there? I know he's in Christian County. I thought he was. I didn't know if he was part of it. I knew he was at one time. But you have a voice, and there's nothing better than having a voice. And you know what? This is the problem. Look, Democrats are smarter than Republicans in many ways. I know you don't want to hear that. Well, if they do, they wouldn't do Kamala. It's about power. The population centers in Missouri, St. Louis, Kansas City, Jeff City, and Springfield control initiative and petition. Right. They go out there, and they got a bunch of dumbasses that don't know what they're signing. Yeah, I'll sign it. And then it goes up for a vote. All they have to do is look for dumb voters, and they're everywhere around. They just are. And, I've had people, I've been to places where you ever go somewhere and they go, we'd like you to sign this? Oh, okay, where do I sign? Then I read it. And I read it, and I look, and I was like, no, I'm not signing. Why? And they try to tell me something different. It's like, well, explain this, because one time they had a petition out there where it was forcing these loan companies and all that they had a maximum they can charge. That is free enterprise. Nobody forces me to go. I've never done it, to go to a high interest loan dealer. And you may say, well, that's not right, but you don't have to go. And guess what? That might be their last resort. And they have to do it. It's, and you put yourself, but there's a lot of people, they have never changed it. Oh, he lives in Greene County. Okay. I'll have to ask him. By the way, Dean called last week or week before. Dean is a friend of ours. He's a truck driver. He sends pictures out there all the time of where he's driving. He said California is one of the worst places to be now. But the reason our country gets like this is because we're not involved. It's that simple. And every day I try to jam that down people's throats and try to get them to understand that the reason the left gets away with so much is because we allow it. I like that. Phyllis says, if they can't reference our country as a republic, they need to impose a $1,000 fine, or every time they call it a democracy, they should be learned. And you're right. I'll bet you that 95% of the kids in school think that we're a democracy. And I really I like J.D. Vance. I do. I like his story. But I saw him in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach. And he kept saying democracy. And I just want to tell these people, it's like, you are not helping our cause. You've got to get out there and say, we are not a democracy. We are a republic. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God. Oh, they add that. Shouldn't have done it. Yeah, right. When they did the Constitution, God was involved in it. It just was. And it is the greatest document. We just have to make sure that we enforce it the way it's supposed to be enforced. And there's so many people abusing it. Protect the First Amendment by censoring speech? Who said anything about censoring speech? Are you here to cause trouble again, Jim? No, I'm saying you need to push the politicians and everybody else to call this what it is. I'm not telling what they got to do. Come on, Jim. I'm waiting for you, buddy. Jim's the biggest bullshitter going here. You're pretty smart for an old guy, though. He is. Something going on here. Anyway, all right. Well, let's. Okay. Well, I told you about the baby. I thought that was pretty cool, though. 1 pound, 11 ounces, and they said it couldn't. And I love it when doctors tell you can't do something. You'll never be able to make this happen. That child will never make it. There's so many times you fool them. Fining people for saying democracy. Who said fine? Oh, I think she was joking. I hope so. No, I don't agree with that. No. You got to do, we got, here. And who gets the money? The government. Don't you love it to say, well, we sued this company, this corporation, for $125 million, and they have to pay the fine. Where's it go? I always want to say, follow the money. Where does it go? I got you, Jim. Yeah, Phyllis did say that. Phyllis, shame on you. You know better now. Oh, good God. It just, I'll shut up here. No, I can't shut up. I can do the show. But I think let me see. I'm gonna play a little bit of John Stossel and RFK Jr. in regards to it. And John Stossel, I like John Stossel. I don't agree with. That's just it. People will hear something somebody says and they don't. All of a sudden they don't like him. That's dumb. Because if that's the case, I know there's things I say that you don't agree with. But you're not going to agree with everybody. Is there anybody here that's married and agrees with 100% what their wife or husband says? I know Ronnie does because he's smart. But no, does anybody here do that? No, of course you don't. Hey, Pat, do you? I think Pat flew away. Wait a minute. Well, I shouldn't say that, Pat. That doesn't mean you're a witch. It just means you ran away. How's that? You got to watch what you say these days. You got to watch what you say. I like this one here. There's a model, used to be a Democrat. used to be a Democrat, like a lot of more. There's a lot of used to be Democrats. And did you see? And this is exposure all the way. Did you see it where they go, They interviewed Mike Pence. He's, why I'm not going to support Donald Trump. No kidding. And by the way, nobody's going to support your ass when you were running for president. What the hell was that all about? Did he actually believe in his mind for 1 second? For 1 second that that any Trumper was going to vote for him? And they always find somebody, but I see these people coming out big time. But model and former Democrat embarrasses woke Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban seems like a cool guy, but what the hell's wrong with that guy? By the way, I remember this. He forecast that if Trump became president back in 2016, that the stock market was going to crash. Yeah. And I love that people only do the numbers. For some reason, they think that they do the numbers, the stock market, that they'll get all this, they're going to do fine. If they of course, they're not smart enough to know this. If they do how unrealized capital gains, if they do that, all the money that they think they're getting extra is going to be taxed. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be taxed. Now, how stupid is that? Really? A lot of people have older people, older than me, of course. They've had to. There it is. They've had to get a second job. There's a lot of people I see at restaurants and stuff like that, and fast food places. They need it to survive, because when you go to the store yesterday, I'm an egg fan. Eggs a month and a half ago was $1.30, $1.40 or something like that a dozen. It's up to $3.78 now. They were pretty inexpensive back when Trump was president. But when I see these graphs or these lists, food is up 25%. It's like, what? What do you mean 25%? Where are you living? Where are you living? 25%. What a bunch of crap. The only thing I see getting that's relatively cheap are televisions. You see a few things like that, but most stuff, food, gas is going up again. Gas, it's really weird how gas works out, but anyway. Did you see, and now I know that Trump made up with Brian Kemp. You know what? Trump's a smart guy. He's getting together with these people. He wants to make sure that they're not going to screw him over. And not that Kemp won't do it, but the chances are less likely if they have a friendship. He said, yeah, we got everything worked out. And he needs to do that. I know people, I'm not a big Lindsey Graham fan, but he does it because for some reason, people where Lindsey Graham is in Carolina, they like him and they keep voting him in. So, yeah, he's useless. He really is. And I've never been a Lindsey Graham fan. But we got Politico reveals evidence of election hacking blind spot in 6-month-long investigation, Russian server connections, and Ukrainian national anthem found in code. There was so much, and this is why Democrats really irritate me. There was so much in the 2020 election. Think of all the fraud that happened. 2020 election, that was a real insurrection. So we had that happen. Then we had the supposedly insurrection in 2021 on January 6th. And they don't talk, it's amazing. They talk about the riots at the Capitol, how awful it was. But you didn't see any fires. You didn't see anything like that. When you saw the 2020 riots, you saw fires. You saw massive looting. That's okay. Because now, legally, in some places, as long as it's under $900, you can go in and loot all you want. Isn't that cool? You can go in and take whatever you want. It doesn't make a difference. And that's what happens. It's sad. Our Our country has become a hellhole. It really has. Yeah. You don't understand. I'm with you. I don't know how he does it either. I really don't. But he does somewhere or another. Lindsay hangs around, but I don't know how much longer it's going to be. A lot of times, as much as we don't like the people, unless there's somebody legitimate that's going to run against them, it's hard to beat these guys. It just is. So anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take a break here. I'll be back in a few. Stand up and this is a great song. It is. So you will like this, and most people know it anyway. So, all right. Ready? And here we go.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. Proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee,
across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea,
from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless, please bless the USA.
Okay, I got to turn the mic on. Thank you. Okay. I want to get back to this. And we talk about voting. The biggest concern I have, is everyone should have, is all about the election, the voting, counting the votes. I found this so interesting. Of course, we have known about and reported on the vulnerabilities in the election systems, whether it was a Michigan-based software firm that allegedly sent our data over to China, Iranians hacking into voter rolls in Florida, or Serbian programmers reportedly being utilized to write code for voting machines, among other issues. All this while being called conspiracy theorists, labeled by establishment, fact checkers, or That's what they did. Establishment in our own damn party does this. What the Democrats? I'm going to say this one more time because it irritates the hell out of me. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever that we have these that we don't have access to the code. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the code in this should be so easy, it's not even funny. The code writing for addition and subtraction is the easiest thing there is. I know how to write it. And then we have it. Well, they're sending it here. Why are they sending our? We got 330 million, 50 million people here. Why is it going anywhere else but here? And then when they sell it to the different, it's on purpose, so you got to know that. So they sell it to the different counties, all that stuff, and they go, well, it's a Dominion machine. Can we have the code? Oh no, that's secret. We can't do that. Secret hell. I am so sick of that. I told you how easy it is to manipulate code. It's so easy. I don't know. I honestly, I'm amazed. I am amazed. And we have supposedly intelligent individuals there. Yeah, I'm sorry. And here, you know what? I would love to maybe get Elon Musk in on this. Seriously, maybe I will figure out a way to contact Elon Musk, through X or something like that, and just say, can you come out with something about not allowing to see the code and how easy it is to write code for voting. It's the simplest thing. It really is. That would be great. And then, in fact, that's something that the Republican Party do. It's hard to do everything. I know that, but a lot of people wouldn't understand it. That's the only problem. But it's such a big deal. When they're writing the code, like I told you, I can write code to say, okay, at this time of day, or if this many votes come in, you're going to change this number to be this and that number to be that. Because they're not going to back it up. If they back it up, they got to go in and check them out. But they don't check them out. When you go to the polls, most polls have it. They got the machine there. You go ahead and you get a paper ballot. You do get a paper ballot, which you should always keep. They get rid of those things quickly too. You got to watch that. But you got a paper ballot, and they mark it, whatever it is, that you put in a machine, and the machine takes it and calculates it. Now, a lot of people say, well, yeah, but the machine's doing it right. And most of the time it is. Not always. You just never know. A lot of times it isn't. Doesn't matter. Every vote should count legitimately. But then when I was in Jefferson County, Missouri, I remember going there, and they give memory cards. On those machines, there's a memory card, and they don't take the machines in like they used. They take the memory card, and they hand it to them. And they put it in this was the key. They put it in a separate memory slot on a computer. And this is something a lot of people don't know. And if there's anybody here that knows about, how they write this and stuff, all you have to do is put your commands in there. They put it in a program that's written, and it comes up with the totals. Oh, this is the total here. Guarantee you that can be manipulated so easy it's not even funny. And don't think they're not doing it. I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it. Bullshit. Of course they knew it. That's how they get away with it. And it's up to us to demand, no, you're not going to throw those away. No, we have to demand this, and we need to, what we need to do, honestly, and I've done this forever, is in Missouri, in fact, my old state representative kind of looked at me and was like, oh, no way. It's like, you jackass. He's a so-called Republican, Dan Shaw, in case you know what I'm talking about. But I said, we need to have a part of government that goes around and audits the elections. Just goes and audits the elections. That's all they do. There's a few people, they go to all the counties, and they audit the elections. That's a full-time job. They could do it, and they could make sure everything's right. We don't need that. And he was in charge of that part of it. I said, why don't we need that? Oh, no, it's all covered. So we get to trust you. That's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's set up to be against us. And it's up to us to do everything we can to make it legal and honest. And when we just sit around, and in my show notes, it's like, what are you going to do? You know, call. Let these people know you're watching them. I used to go to the county clerk's office the night, and I told you how that worked. I went to county clerk's office at night after the election and show my pretty face and let them know I'm watching you. Now, you may think, oh, somebody, they can still do it behind. Let me tell you, they get a little more nervous when people are there. Believe me, they do. That's how it works. And we have these watch parties, and I will go back to this is where I used to get really irritated. I didn't want to go to the watch party after a while, but I did. But at the watch party was all the people that didn't do squat. They got there early, got their seats, and was eating the food before I even walked in the door. A lot of times the food was gone. Because the lazy-ass people voted Republican. They all did vote Republican, and then they got to, I voted Republican. Now I get free pizza and whatever. I thought they'd have free beer here. That's where we are. I call them welfare Republicans. But they voted the right way. Not necessarily. You don't know how they voted. It's not just that. If we're going to work as a team, we have to work. We all have to be on the team. We have to be out there doing things. And there's so many things we can do. And to be honest with you, that's why we have to watch our legislators. Ronnie earlier was talking about the locals. Those people get away with murder. I'm telling you, they do, because nobody watches them. I did. And they knew it. I'm telling you, when they know you're watching them, they'll behave more. I would show up sometimes unannounced. Hey, how you guys doing, I know they'll go, hey, Dave, how you doing? How's everything going? And this one, in the back of their mind, are going, Dave's here. Cover everything up. Do this, do that. Kept them on their toes. That's what you have to do. My friend Linda would do the same thing. She'd meet me there. We were the ones that went out there and did a lot of the stuff. But we would do that to intimidate, to let the thieves, let the criminals know. And I don't care if they got an R next to their name or not. People got to get over that letter. But I'm a Republican. Yes, so am I. But I'm a real Republican. And I don't like phonies. I don't like phonies. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox here. I'd never get off my soapbox. But anyway, there you go. All these Dominion voting systems, very concerned about that. I'm concerned about the mail-in ballots. That's what we're going to lose. And by the way, the establishment and the left are trying to push it and say, you people don't need to be at those drop boxes. You don't need to be there. Why are they concerned about us being there? Making sure everything's honest. When you see the same person go back and forth with these and putting 20 votes in, and it's supposed to be just one, they got to put them one at a time. Oh, well, you're going to put a one time in. Well, if nobody's watching, put 20 of them in. One at a time. Happens all the time. That's how come they cheat. And aren't you sick to death of seeing dead people get out of their graves and go vote? Especially, this is the worst part. I didn't know this. But when somebody dies, they automatically become a Democrat. Did you know that? Yes. They're automatically a Democrat. I've seen it. I've been to the cemeteries. All of a sudden, it's that time and they get up and I see ghosts, I'm being silly. But they get up and they go to the polling place. They can fly. They fly to the polling place, and some of them actually go to the drop box. I'm making fun of it, but I always when I drive by a cemetery, every election I always go, there's where the real voters are. Those are the Democrat voters that are going to get them through. I mean, after all, you know what's amazing? They have dead people that are smart enough to get out of their cemetery, get out of their vault or whatever. They're smart enough to go and vote that day, but they're not smart enough to get a voter ID. Yeah, they're not smart enough to do that. It just, I'm terrible, I know. But, that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, so the dead people will be voting. Anyway. NBC admits fake claim about Kamala meeting families of murdered soldiers. They try to act like she did. She never did. The only one that met them, well, the murdered soldiers, and if you remember this, I don't have a watch on. Here, I'll do it this way. There's Joe Biden. They're taking the bodies out of the plane, and Joe Biden's there looking at his watch. What do you have? You have to go to the bathroom or something like that? Let me see. Another 5 minutes. I got to get out of here. I'm going to shit my pants. Oh, I'm so awful. Don't you love it? Anyway, NBC's Meet the Press admitted Sunday that anchor Kristen Welker had been incorrect to say that Vice President Kamala Harris had met with the families of Americans killed in Afghanistan, though it also botched the correction. In an interview with Tom Cotton, Welker challenged the Republican. You notice how they challenge Republicans? When they're talking to a Democrat, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? But they get a Republican like, do you know you're wrong about that? Oh, no, that's what they do. So anyway, Tom Cotton's been pretty good lately. Walker challenged a Republican over former President Donald Trump's visit last week to Arlington. They were freaking out. They were jealous, that's why. And by the way, Trump always called and talked to people like that. Thank you, Bob. Yeah, that's good. I'll get that in a second here. Abigail International Airport in Kabul, the Harris Walls campaign accused Trump of politicizing the memorial amid controversy over whether his campaign could take photos of. They don't want it to be positive. They don't want it to be positive. And by the way, he didn't go on his own. The Gold Star families, in fact, I'm going to play that. I think I have it here. The Gold Star families invited him. They invited him. What we got up here? Texas removed 1 million illegals from voter rolls. This is another fundamental issue. You don't need a voter ID for mail-in ballot. Exactly right. We have said that Democrats are more likely to vote early. I believe that this is not the case. Democrat activists cast more ballots early. That makes it look like more Democrats vote early. Well, the dead people, I do know. They're not in a hurry, but they do like to vote early. Yeah, the cemeteries, I see a lot of them on election day get up out of their graves. But, a lot of them have mail-in ballots. They just can't find a pen. I don't have a marker here. I can't vote. Don't worry. Go ask Alice. Go ask Alice. Listen to me. In response, the Gold Star families criticized Harris for the botched Afghanistan withdrawal and for failing to call or meet with them. NBC's Walker picked up the thread of the argument with Cotton. I mean, these people have no shame whatsoever. None. I want to play this. I'm going to show how ridiculous Welker is. Get it here. Da-da-da. Okay. Let's show this real quick.
And honored the sacrifice of those young men and women. But she hasn't. She never has spoken to them or taken a meeting with them.
Well, they did meet with them during the dignified transfer.
Because of
they were with them at the dignified transfer.
Her and Joe Biden's incompetence, those 13 Americans were killed in Afghanistan.
And these leftist reporters, they're the first one to butt in. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, and I think they've taught politicians what to do with them, but real Republicans, they just keep talking. But they'll shut them down. It's like, wait, that's wrong. You can't say that. You can't say that. It's like, what? And I'm thinking, is that in your cards? They can't say that because it may mean something. Did the bosses say, whatever you do, don't let them say this? I guarantee that's what they do. Oh, my goodness. Oh, check this out. I didn't see this. Michigan lawyer Stephanie Lambert arrested by U.S. Marshals in D.C. following court appearance for submitting evidence of numerous crimes, including internal emails from Dominion voting systems to law enforcement. How interesting. After a 6-month-long investigation undertaken by Politico, they have apparently have come to the realization that our election systems and infrastructure is vulnerable. Duh. In a bizarrely timed article, Politico exposed software misconfigured to connect to servers in Russia, code that is overseen by Russian computer engineer. You know, Politico is about as trustworthy as Drudge Report now. Remember when Drudge Report used to be a conservative? But anyway, it just, our nation's corrupt. That's bottom line. In so many ways, and we have to know that. People, you got to understand, our nation is corrupt. And if you want that to stop, you have to get involved and say, no, I don't want this anymore. Did I see? Oh, I did, but I'll say it. Did you see Josh Hawley's comments about Trump assassination attempt? There were no Secret Service agents on duty. They were Homeland Security agents pulled to be his protection. Look, in my spare time, I do rocket science. But seriously, if you don't think that wasn't a setup move to kill Trump, you are a complete moron. No excuses about the Secret Service. I mean, instead of saying it was a mistake here, you know, what we do, the concentration is on the mistake. Oh, there's a mistake here, a mistake there. There were no mistakes. There were none. We're going to put other people there. We're not going to do it right. We're going to have an assassination. It'll be sad. We'll have a great funeral, and all of a sudden, because that's part of what I'm going to be doing soon here too. Because a lot of Vanguard and BlackRock and some of the other ones must have known about it. Let me tell you why. Because a lot of people involved in the investment industry were selling stock the day or two before and buying other stock the day or two before. Yes. It just happened to be right before the Trump attempted assassination. Well, they did get him, just not good enough. It actually happened. So that's part of what I'm going to be doing here. It's just our government is that corrupt. Do you agree? Who agrees with me about it was planned assassination? If you don't, you're buying everything they're selling, that's for sure. Where's this in England? I can't see where this is. This teacher, where is this? I forgot. Oh, in Ireland. Can you believe it's Ireland? Irish teacher arrested for the third time for refusing to give in to trans agenda. Please understand that there is a worldwide attempt to push one world government. By the way, ask George H.W. Bush, of course he's not around anymore. And Ronnie agrees. It was absolutely a planned assassination. But this teacher, who formerly taught at Wilson's Hospital School in Ireland, according to the website, while the school is associated with the Church of Ireland, they appear to bow to the trans agenda. You see how the leftists have taken over religion? Must be a reason why I'm not really doing much with religion these days. Religion has been taken over by the left in many ways. You've got a pope that doesn't say anything negative about abortion anymore. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I can't keep up with him. He's obviously a socialist. You notice the only ones that are when the super rich are socialist because they know it's not going to affect them. You know, George Carlin has some great things that he said. He was trying to wake people up back in the 90s and in the 2000s. And I remember him talking about some things that just, wow. But as we fight with others, the elitists are getting richer. They got more power, and we have our eye off the ball. I don't. But most people have their eye. They're concerned about the most stupid things I've ever seen in my life. When I watch some of the things, it's like, are you serious? I told you yesterday, well, I think Trump's going to do this. They're all concerned with what Trump's going to do. Why don't you be concerned about what the hell you're going to do? But Trump would do this, he'll do that. That's what happens. What are you doing? I'm reporting the news. Oh, you're doing a good job of it. You're reporting. You know, a lot of people get out there and they see stories and they believe it without checking it out. I just, people, pay attention. Please, pay attention. That's how I feel about it. Pay attention. Know that you're being used and they're doing a good job. They're doing a great job using you. They just are. By the way, I saw this, and this is something I am concerned about. On November 5th, there's going to be an election, obviously. If Trump wins, the deep state has 2.5 months to do what they are. Don't think they're not planning on this, of not allowing Trump to take office on January 20th. And I'm asking people right now, what would you do? And there could be all kinds of reasons. Well, this happened, you know. And by the way, I think Kamala may be president before then anyway, because they're talking about Joe. Joe is like in really bad shape, which we all knew anyway. But he was, fit as a fiddle before. That's right. But if when Trump gets elected, I'm quite sure he will be. Who knows? If we can control the voter fraud, if Trump gets elected, then we have to be concerned of, will they give up the power? Because one thing I learned about Democrats is they actually give you their moves. Because what they say, they always say, well, Trump won't give up power if he wins, and in 2028, he won't give up power. He wants to stay there. That's not who Trump is. We got dumbasses on our side of the house. Well, I hope he does. And other ones that say he don't. No, he gave it away. He didn't concede the election because he knew they would lie. And the Democrats used that. The Democrats used January 6th as though we were rioting, and we weren't rioting. We were protesting. They turned into a riot. I don't know about you folks, but if somebody starts shooting rubber bullets at me and tear gas and the rest of it, I'm a little pissed off, aren't you? You just can't take that crap. You just can't say, oh, well, it's okay for them to do this. I want to know what government employees are shooting at a crowd that was not violent. You didn't get to see that part. It was not violent until they started doing those things. And that's something I've been talking about for years. And people they just don't get it. By the way, Trump is doing great with black voters. Trump is doing great with Hispanic voters. I don't know if he's doing very good with illegals, though. But illegals can't vote. Oh, they're going to. Make no mistake about it, illegals are going to vote. They're going to vote. Make no mistake about it. But they're not supposed to be able to. It doesn't matter. I said from the beginning to look for a pattern of security flaws at Trump rallies and believe that it was the effort to leave the opportunity over. Exactly. It's going to happen again. But I really believe one way or another, they're going to do what they can. They're going to try to eliminate Trump. And we're all going to be unhappy and all that stuff. And I will tell you right now, if that happens, we have to look at ourselves and say, I wish we would have went after these jackasses that are trying to destroy our country. Sitting back doing nothing, allowing power-hungry politicians, not all of them, allowing power-hungry establishment Republicans and Democrats. They're all in this, this is a uniparty. Not all Republicans. Most Democrats. I don't think it's all Democrats. I think some are just there. They're just don't think that a lot of Democrats. And here's part of the problem too with the power structure they have in Washington D.C. And by the way, not just there, in like Ronnie was talking about, on local levels. There's a power structure there. In the state of Missouri, other states, the Speaker of the House and Senate Pro Tem have a lot more power than they should. Your congressman, your state representative or whatever, they can go to their to the leader and say, yeah, I got a bill I want to file. And they look at it and go, well, okay, put it in the round file. We're not going to look at it because you're not doing what we want you to do. Ronnie, you're around this stuff. Am I right? I know it. I talk to legislators like, yeah, I have to kiss a little ass for them to, if we have the leadership that sucks, which a lot of times they do, because there's more rhinos, more phony Republicans in the legislatures than there are real Republicans. But if they want to get something passed, if the rhinos think, hey, it'll help us, that's when they'll do it. Otherwise, they put it in committee. They find some way to kill it. I think people think, oh, all they have to do is file a bill and it's good. No, it has to go through all kinds of processes, which is good, which is really good in most cases. And I know a lot of people in Missouri. We're not fans of Eric Greitens, but I talked to some legislators there, and too many people were concerned about the bullshit that came out. They got to get over themselves. I've some really nice legislators. Well, but he shouldn't have messed around with his wife. You know what? That was before the election, and they worked it out. It's between them. What they do is between them. And the super religious sometimes they're unforgiving, and they'd rather go a different direction. So anyway, Eric Greitens was there. Eric Greitens, the governor of Missouri at the time, was trying to change the power structure in the legislature. And they didn't like that. And get rid of a lot of the money over at their own K Street in Jefferson City. This happens everywhere. If you want to take the money out, you got to watch out. If you want to be a whistleblower, there's a good chance you may die. Is that the government you want, where somebody comes out and says, look what they're doing here. FBI, look at that. Boeing, a crony corporation now. Look at them. 2 whistleblowers just happened to commit suicide. They died, yeah. Been happening for a long time. But apparently it's okay. It's not okay with me. It's not okay with me. And to this day, I'm never going to give up until the day I become room temperature. At least I hope. I get frustrated. I do. I get very frustrated. And I get frustrated because we have a chance, and we've talked about it before, we have a chance to take this country back. And most people just don't do what it takes to take it back. I got to find this. I have to find this. I know what I'll do. I'll have some fun. Let me have some fun. I'm going to have a little fun. It's Wednesday. This is actually a really funny one here, and I think you'll have a blast. I want to do something different. I got to get off this seriousness stuff here. This is actually hilarious, and I sent it around before. It's really this guy is just unbelievable. It's really funny. Get this squared away. See which one this is. Make sure it's the right one. Okay, this is it. Okay, I'm going to play this just to have some jollies in here. Yeah, Empire. That's right. Empire. You're right. But this is actually so true. So, all right, little fun here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you get everything ready to go. Okay, here you go.
Men's brains, women's brains, and how they're very different from each other. Now, I want to start with men's brains. All right, now men's brains are very unique. Men's brains are made up of little boxes. and we have a box for everything. We've got a box for the car. We've got a box for the money. We've got a box for the job. We've got a box for you. We've got a box for the kids. We've got a box for your mother somewhere in the basement. We got boxes everywhere. And the rule is the boxes don't touch. When a man discusses a particular subject, we go to that particular box, we pull that box out, we open the box, we discuss only what is in that box. All right? And then we close the box and put it away, being very, very careful not to touch any other boxes. Now, women's brains are very, very different from men's brains. Women's brains are made up of a big ball of wire. And everything is connected to everything. The money's connected to the car is connected to your job, and your kids are connected to your mother, and everything's connected to everything. And it's like... It's like the internet superhighway, okay? And it's all driven by energy that we call emotion. It's just... It's one of the reasons why women tend to remember everything. Because if you take an event and you connect it to an emotion, it burns in your memory and you can remember it forever. The same thing happens for men. It just doesn't happen very often because, quite frankly, we don't care. All right. Women tend to care about everything. And she just loves it. Okay? Now, men, we have a box in our brain that most women are not aware of. This particular box has nothing in it. In fact, we call it the nothing box. And of all the boxes a man has in his brain, the nothing box is our favorite box. If a man has a chance, he'll go to his nothing box every time. That's why a man can do something seemingly completely brain dead for hours on end. You know, like fishing. Now, they've actually measured this. The University of Pennsylvania a couple of years ago did a study and discovered that men have the ability to think about absolutely nothing and still breathe. You know, they connected all the wires and stuff like that and watched the brain activity, then all of a sudden, I think he's dead. Huh? You know, women can't do it. They can't do it. Their minds never stop. And they don't understand the nothing box. And it drives them crazy. Because nothing drives a woman more crazy or makes her feel more irritated than to witness a man doing nothing.
Okay. I thought that would be fun.
Hi, we're Visible. We offer one-line wireless plans with no hidden fees for just $25 a month on Verizon's 5G network.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Sometimes we just got to relax. You just have to. But it's you know what? That's probably one of the most the truest videos I've ever seen. And I'll admit it. Because you'd be talking to women, and all of a sudden it's like, where's that coming from? Well, it's just like you said, it's super highway, and that's what they do. So, but we're different. That's it. So anyway, hope you enjoy. Sometimes I gotta lower it. I just have to, because there's so much here sometimes that it's like, and I stop having. I mean, I have fun here. Don't get me wrong, but I stop having as much fun. And sometimes I just gotta throw this stuff in there, and sometimes I don't know about you. I'll look at reels and I'll come up with all kinds of good stuff. So anyway. Pastor Locke. You've heard of Pastor Locke, Greg Locke? His house was shot up by a madman with one of his children home. 2 a.m. in the last 3 hours, our home has been a full-blown crime scene. According to security cam, we pulled into our driveway exactly 1 minute after a madman unloaded an entire magazine of bullets from an automatic weapon into our house, garage, and truck. The sound on my video is truly horrific. Detectives will still be here for a good while tonight. Only one of our kids was home, and thank God, not in the same area of the house. As you can see in the pics. I mean, isn't that awful? It's disgusting. It makes you wonder, hey, was it illegal? I don't know. But they have the video, so we'll find out. But this is our world today, ladies and gentlemen. We have cities where the homeless are there, and it's rampant, unless there's a convention or an out-of-country visitor. You want that video, huh? I'll put it on my Facebook. But that's where we are. And our cities have become hellholes without a doubt. And I guess in a way, it's starting to. I would like to think that a lot of black voters now, after they've seen it the last 3.5 years, it's only been horrible, worse for them, because inflation has skyrocketed, crime has skyrocketed. Democrats are saying crime is better now. It is not better. You know why they say it's better? Because the statistics aren't there to support it being worse. That's because a lot of them don't even report it anymore. If you're in San Francisco and somebody steals, you've seen shoplifters going to just fill their bags up and walk out. They don't even take reports anymore. That's why everybody's leaving. The cities have become hellholes. How in the world, in America, now it's really easy. This is where we all have to kick ourselves in the ass a little bit. Do we really want our American cities to be hellholes? I don't. They were great at one time. I grew up in a city of St. Louis. I know so many people. I know Pat's here, Detroit area. These were great cities. And look at New York being destroyed by liberals. Liberals are the best at killing and destroying everything. We can't allow it to happen. You may not agree and say, well, as far as they're all Democrats, no. Because, I'll tell you from my own experience, there's some really good people in those cities. They don't even know how to move. You think I'm joking. I'm dead serious. I mean, I can tell you stories. I know. I grew up in them. And there's some good people there, but all they know is what they know that's around them. That's all they know. And if you really care about your fellow man, you should be doing everything you can to say, And instead of getting mad at them, yes, they shouldn't be vote for certain things. I couldn't agree with you more. But look what we do on our side. This is why, this is what happens with the parties. This is exactly what the establishment looks at, and they go, look at this crap. We start all this crap. I'm playing establishment now. I'm playing the uniparty. We start all this crap. These people are fighting against each other. They're all losing, and we're winning. We got more money in our pocket. Our friends and relatives are all getting rich. We're the elitist. Those people are dumbasses because they believe our bullshit. That's exactly what's going on. And then you get a guy like Trump who goes out there and tells the truth and wants to, I'm telling you, when he becomes president, and we better pray every day that they don't do something to stop it. And, I mean, we're talking about the fact that the rest of his life, from today, every day since he's been running, actually he's been in office and all that, it's worse now. He has the biggest target on him of anybody on the planet. And what does the Secret Service do? They put Homeland Security people on him. Why is that son of a bitch the one that took over for Cheadle? He's just as bad. Why aren't these people fired? Because he was doing his job. You wonder why he's on fire? That's why. He was doing his job. Hey, we're going to go ahead. We're going to go after him. It's time he's out of here. You know, kind of like JFK. We'll have another lone gunman because people seem to fall for that crap. Get some kind of nutcase. The problem is it's a little more difficult today in some ways because there's so many electronic connections. Because there was electronic connections from Thomas Crooks. How many people have investments over in other countries at 20 years old? How many people have made bombs? Think about that. How many people go at a shooting range where there's a lot of government agents? There's no telling. It's, you know, when you got a 20-year-old, you're as Dr. Phil would say, your brain is not fully developed. And just think, you got these government guys say, hey, we're going to give you something you're going to love. You'll be rich the rest of your life. Really? Hey, why would we take you out? Sure? Oh, no. You're going to be a hero. You're going to be rich because we got to take him out and give reasons why you got to take him out. He was not a Republican. That was part of the deal. Hey, and they've been working on this for a while. They find these loners. Obviously, he's a loner. He's got loser parents. They find a loner, and they go ahead and brainwash him. Pardon me. They go ahead and brainwash him, and then he thinks he's a hero. And they have other people to back him up. I mean, everything was planned. Oops, all these roofs here, and the stupid things. I mean, the dumbest thing I heard of any of that stuff. The stupid things, you know, that Cheadle said. Cheadle was the former Secret Service director. The incline on the roof was too much. You know, she's not even a good liar. You know, she isn't. And I knew when she was done, she thought, I'm going to be in front of Congress, and they're going to drive me nuts. Now, the guy they have now, who's a temporary director, that guy's a jerk. He was going after, well, I'm not going to do this with my people. Hey, jackass, it's our people. This is something everyone watching right now needs to remember. Every one of those SOBs work for us. And until you start getting that in your brain and saying, yeah, they do work for us, we're not going to get anywhere. They work for us. Your congressman works for you. Your state, everyone works for us. Make them know it. Hey, I voted for you. I won't vote for you next time if you're not going to do that. Do it. But, I do. You do work for us. Remember that, don't you? Remind them. When I was in my old county, we had an over-the-top sheriff that was out there having DUI stops for, wasn't just DUI. It was all kinds of stuff. And we had him show up at the county courthouse. Now, most people, I'm not normal, would say, I'm afraid of the repercussions. But I got there, and I let him have it and said, and he hated this. I mean, he never said much of anything by what they said, but I have to get my 3 cents in, more than 2. And I just looked at him and I said, remember, Sheriff, you work for us. And boy, oh boy, he started exploding on that one. And was I nervous? No. He works for us. Could something happen to me? Sure. I don't waste my time worrying about this. Oh, I look over my shoulder. I have cameras around my house. I mean, I watch where I'm going. I watch people around me. But I'm not going to be chicken shit of these people, because and that's what most people have, they've gotten afraid of the people that work for them. How would you like to own a business and you're afraid that people work for you? It's not a smart move. It just isn't. So I just hope people understand that you've got to change what we're doing. You just have to. Got to change. So anyway, all right, where am I here? All right, I had a couple more things I want to talk about here, but I think the biggest problem we have in our country is we feel like the servants or the peasants of these politicians. They own us. If you allow them to own us, own you, you deserve it. Hey, Ronnie, you've been around for a while. You're not afraid of these politicians, are you? You've been dealing with them for a while. Maybe not as much as I have, but you've been dealing with them. They're just people. They're just people. And I just wish people would understand the power you have allowed to be taken away. You just have. But you don't tell them what you need to do. You won't even bother to call them. I'd like to think that if you had an employee that was given here, if you had an employee, say you're an employer, and you had an employee that was giving your merchandise away, would you just call them up and say, please stop? Or in our case, we don't even call. He shouldn't be doing that. I'm dead serious. Think about that. Look at all the money they give away, and we just sit around and we just put up with it. I don't get that. The list of things that they give away. You know, the stupidest. Well, we're going to research on a shrimp that's going to walk on a treadmill. What? They do. We give money away for research in other countries. It's the stupidest thing. But we do that. That's right. They put their clothes on just like we do. I like to look at it this way. When you go to the toilet and you sit there and you're having a good one there, everyone does it. Everyone does it. That's your most vulnerable moment. It's just one of those things. And we have to look at it that way. It's like we're all the same. There are people that you have given power to, and many times you've given them too much power. It's just not a smart move. And I can't believe how many people, if half the people that bitch and moan every day about politics would actually do something, call their congressman, call a few congressmen. I told you, call a bunch of them. If you did that, if half the people did it, think about it. Say you got 100 million people and 50 million people call their representatives once a week, twice a week. Let me tell you something. You think that would make a difference? Anybody out there, you think that would make a difference? I know a lot of politicians. They tell me up front. I mean, I've been there. The people don't call them. They get, while the cat's away, the mice are playing big time. They become rats. The mice become rats. If the reason is because you're not, it's like having an infestation of ants in your house. Or roaches. Let's do roaches. I like roaches better. Infestation of roaches in your house. And you look at them and say, you shouldn't be here. You need to do something. Or just sit back and say, I hope they go away. That's what you need to do. You got to look at this in a totally different direction and realize that unless you want the roaches there, I wonder how many people here would freak out if they had roaches. I grew up with roaches as part of my childhood. Roaches and mice. And I you know what? Do you know what it feels like? And I've done this. You know, you open something up and a whole bunch of roaches leave. I wasn't dirty. It's how I grew up. If I see any insect around, they got me to deal with. I'm getting rid of them, just like I do with politicians. Think of politicians as roaches. If they're doing bad things, If they're coming in your house and causing problems, get rid of them. You may get their attention on any specific issue, but their oversight of the beast is laughable. They don't understand. The biggest problem we have, we don't understand how much power we have as citizens. That's the one thing we don't understand. We like to think we do. We moan and groan about it. We whine about it. We go on Facebook. We go on social media, and we moan about it. Spend that time calling up a politician. That's what you do. Spend your time calling a politician, because you would be stunned at how much power you have, and they're going, hey, thanks for telling me. And they may not mean it, but these establishment politicians, you know why they're so damn cocky? Because you keep putting them in office. They laugh at you. They go, you think I'm joking. A lot of these establishment politicians, they're laughing at you. Ann Wagner, all these people, they're laughing at you going, I could go down and shoot people in the street. Sound familiar? They can do anything they want, and you're still going to put them in office because you're afraid of maybe somebody else doing it. You know what this beast is, that's for sure. But we have to get over that. We got to get over the fact that we're afraid of our politicians. I am not afraid of any politician. I'm not afraid of any Secret Service guy. I'm not afraid of any of those people. I really couldn't care less. Just like my friend Ron said, they put their pants on just like you. They do everything just like you. Now, they may think pardon my expression, they may think their shit doesn't stink, but we all know it does. And it's up to us to make sure we remind them. And our biggest failure as citizens in this country, God, I wish I'll get it next week, but as citizens of our country, when we allow the enemy to beat us, that is our fault. To let them control us. If you're mad enough to go on Facebook, you should be mad enough to call them up. You should. And these days, you can go anywhere. Just go in there and say, my congressman. Or, there's all kinds of ways to get. You can get them. Their numbers are available in every way there is. And they're passing laws you don't know. And look, it's hard to keep up, I admit. But you know why it's hard to keep up? Because it's more important to watch a baseball game with your heroes there. They're your heroes. They're making millions of dollars. Well, it's more fun to watch. It might be more fun, but you know what? It's still costing you money. It's up to us. I will say this from day one. I said, okay, I regret that. So anyway, today's Friday. I'm not quite done, so don't run off yet. But I want so much for people to put it in practice. I just do. And it's not. And if you won't do it for yourself, I mean this sincerely. I do this. Look in your heart and think about those wonderful grandchildren and children you have. And if you really have the guts to say, I don't care if you live in communism, I'm not going to do anything about what's going on. If you really are that shallow, then don't come to me bitching about what's going on. Because anything I do in life, I because of my childhood, I'm very conscious of children. Not in the same way as Joe Biden. I'm very conscious of children because we don't discipline them, we don't do the things our kids don't discipline, whatever it is. They're losing. They're losing. And unless you want to be the communist states of America, you'll be dead. You don't care. And you're going, I'm going to leave them a lot of money. And I'll tell you right now, a lot of countries, people felt like that. And guess what happened? The socialist communists took over, and they took that money. They took that money. Oh, they wouldn't do that. Yes, they would. It's happened before. The one thing that Americans have truly forgotten is history. In history, you learn from history. I learn from history. My own history, other people's. I learn from history. History is the most important subject you should learn, because that way you can figure out what a future act may be. But if you just sit around and just laugh and say, well, Trump will be president, he'll take care of everything, you're sadly mistaken. Because remember, we are a republic, contrary to what they say. Trump cannot write laws. That's done by Congress and the Senate. That's how it works. I don't even think most people know that Congress holds the purse strings. They hold the purse strings. They're in charge of money. That's the most important thing going on. And when they go ahead and pass these humongous budgets, you better know that they don't care about you because, I think it's what we lose. We're spending, I think, $2 trillion a year more than we're taking in every year. Not awful. That's embarrassing. It really is. So, all right, I've given you enough grief for one day, 1 week. Okay. Hey, thank you so much, everybody who watches, listens to the show and all that stuff. I'll be back on Monday. Hopefully I get some of these shows put together like I want. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Let me get everything here. But I'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend. I'd say Merry Christmas, but it's not Christmas. So just keep working. All right, thanks a lot, and I'll see you on Monday.
You can't quit. And why not? Because you're fired. You can't fire him. Why not? He quit.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Thanks.